Hello! So through the door today, new RunCam camera. You've probably seen it around. It's the RunCam Sparrow. Comes in a little box, and pleased to say that this time, whereas with the Micro they didn't give you really any accessories, they now give you the OSD cable, obviously the cables, and a little mounting bracket, which is good. The camera itself looks almost identical to the Swift Micro. Here's the Swift Micro with the 2.3mm lens, this is 2.1. It's slightly smaller and slightly lighter. And the big change is, well, there's two big changes really. First is, it is a CMOS sensor instead of a CCD sensor, which is not something I'd really go with, but the other difference is it's a 16:9 display, whereas it's 4:3. Now I don't know if that's because they don't do 16:9 sensors in this tiny size for CCD or what. The goggles I use are the Fat Shark Dominator 3s, which actually have a 16:9 display, which is 800 by 480. So when I normally use all my FPV stuff, which are all 4:3 sensors, it just stretches it out. It's never really something that's bothered me before, but it's not a true image. So I was keen to see what would happen with a true 16:9 image into the goggles. Will I really notice the difference, and how will this perform? So what I'm going to do, having just put the Micro Swift on my little Fira 110 frame, I'm going to quickly swap this over for the little Sparrow and see how it does. Hopefully I'll be able to get some sort of comparison picture on the same day, if I can, and we'll see if there's much difference. This is the Sparrow's OSD setup screen, and I thought I'd show this because it's a little bit different than the Swift's CCD one. It's got a couple of things in there, like you can change it from NTSC and PAL. It defaults to NTSC, so I changed mine to PAL. It's also got WDR and various amounts you can do, which I've not seen on the CMOS camera before, so hopefully the light handling is going to be a lot better than the normal ones. So anyway, I got this on the quad and gave it a go, but I had problems with it on the quad. It was rebooting and my flight controller seemed to be going crazy. When I eventually got it so it would boot up cleanly, here's what happened in the flight. We take off, it goes along a bit, and then the flight controller reboots. And we got it back, tried it again. Obviously it wasn't going to go anywhere, and similar thing, down it goes. Now I identified this as, I think this is pulling slightly more milliamps than the Micro Swift. This is my current wiring hookup, where I've got the camera running from the 5V from the VTX and the VTX pulling the power from the flight controller. Obviously this was too much for the flight controller, so I removed the 5V line to the camera and I connected the camera directly to the battery voltage, so it's now running straight off the 2-cell battery, which is fine, but possibly you get noise, so let's try that. So changing the wiring fixed the problem from the rebooting point of view. No issues at all now. And here we are into the field, and you can see that we've got some noise in the picture, which is a shame, and I'm even getting a sort of blinking OSD down the bottom there. So here's one thing to mention about using a 16:9 camera, and that's the Fat Shark DVR doesn't care. No matter what you put into it, it will record in 640 by 480. So this is what the file looks like raw. What I'm going to do is stretch this back out to 16:9 like this. But obviously we've lost some pixels there and lost some quality, so that's just one thing to note. So one thing to say about this quad, I was getting ready to take it out and I thought, oh, I should change these props. They all got bent up in crashes, and I just basically bent them back to approximately a reasonable shape. So I knew I had some wobbles on this one, but I thought, you know what, I'm not going to, because generally in a day, if I get a slightly bent up prop, I'm not going to bother replacing it. I'm just going to carry on flying, because I know the Micro Swift will cope reasonably well. It might give me a few shakes, but I don't really care. So I thought, I'll look at this and see how it does in a less than ideal scenario, and here it is. And you notice that we do get the dreaded yellow. It seems to be coming on at certain frequencies when the props are spinning a little bit fast, especially under full throttle. It really does go crazy and it doesn't like it at all. So that's a bit of a shame. So I could have gone back and changed props to make sure everything was smooth, and it would probably come up with quite a nice picture, but I wanted to look at the worst case scenario really to see how it compared. That said, I'm not saying it's a rubbish camera because it gets jello. I'm saying if you've got some vibrations in your quad, it will really amplify them. If your quad's lovely and smooth, you'll be fine. So you can see that the light handling's pretty good, and the overall picture, well, it's not great because of the noise, but aside from that, it doesn't look too dissimilar from the Micro Swift. I'm hard pressed to tell the difference. So because I had the Micro Swift with me as well, I basically unscrewed the Sparrow, put the Micro Swift in, and this is the difference. You'll notice that the Micro Swift doesn't seem to have any problems with the higher voltage coming in. It doesn't seem to pick up any of the noise, and you can see the OSD is stable, and you can also see that when flying under high throttle, although you might get the odd vibration and shake, you get none of the jello effect. So we know that the quad's not flying particularly brilliantly, but this camera can handle that a lot better than the Micro Sparrow. So let's put them side by side so we can do a little bit more of a comparison. And again, this is same quad, same day, literally just plug the other camera in, and you can see there's quite a difference there. So I struggle a little bit to wonder why you'd really want a Micro Sparrow. For me, if I wanted a micro camera that did a great job, I'd really go with a Micro Swift, because it's just better in all ways. I mean, I think the light handling on the CMOS camera is very good, but given there's both a CMOS and a CCD version, unless you really want a 16:9 display in your goggles, and you have to have the right set of goggles to do it, because I believe if you spent out big money for the Dominator HD3s, I don't think they will display a 16:9 picture with analog video. That's only for HDMI. So you can put a 16:9 camera in your quad and you'll still only get a 4:3 image. For me, it's not really going to work in a micro or mini quad. I don't see the point in using a CMOS camera when you can get a CCD sensor and not really have to worry that much about small vibrations. It might suit a plane better, and I'm going to try it in one just to see how it is, and you've really got a bit more time to actually take in what a 16:9 display looks like there. With a mini or a micro anyway, I'm pretty much focused on the middle of the picture, and going low and fast, you want to concentrate on not hitting stuff. You don't really have time to take in the surroundings. But please take a look at the footage we got here, and you make up your minds about what you think and if it suits you. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.